Hello everyone, back to today's second video, doing GMA Friday for today's second video. So as was on a Friday, we have a look at the weather for the month ahead with Japanese and CFS V2 models. So we're going to be looking at the next 4 weeks. It takes us into the first half of September, so into the early part of meteorological autumn 2020. And yeah, we're going to have a look at GMA first of all, then we'll compare it to the CFS V2 and we'll see what trends we can pick out between these two models for the next 4 weeks. The European outlook has been released, so we are cooling things down gradually in Northern Europe. It's after the very intense heat of recent days, things are cooling down, but it's involving a lot of thunderstorms. And by this time next week, it could actually be a little bit on the autumnal side, can you believe, in the far northwest of Europe. So have a look at the European outlook and see what's going on with that one. Right then, so let's get on with JMA Friday then. So we're going to start with the Japanese 500 millibar height anomaly from the North Pole and Northern Hemisphere view down. So this is like the North Pole of the Arctic just here. We've got a wider Arctic circle around there, middle latitudes around here. So blue is extrapolating to below average heights, which is low pressure, and yellow, orange and red extrapolate to above average heights, which is high pressure. These are broken down into weekly periods, so the first week period will take us from the 14th through to the 21st of August, and the coming week is looking unsettled. Look at this, we've got a trough of below average heights over and to the west of the country. The ridge that gave us the heat wave is receding away to the north of Europe. We've also got some higher pressure south of Greenland. Jet stream generally going on a bit of a southerly track here on the... We will eventually find ourselves going on to the cooler side of the jet stream. So we do look rather unsettled, actually. We're breaking down the hot weather that we have had, involving thunderstorms initially, and then eventually we're going to start driving in areas of low pressure from off the Atlantic, most probably. Week 2 takes us from the 21st to 28th of August, so we're ending this very, very strange and topsy-turvy summer on an unsettled note with below average heights, low pressure in from off the Atlantic with the jet stream as well. So yes, we go through the final sort of full week of August on an unsettled and Atlantic driven note with bouts of rain and pretty cool temperatures as well, you would have thought by this point, as these low pressures come barreling in from off the Atlantic. And then that takes us to weeks 3 and 4, which is going to be the 28th of August to the 11th of September. And still looking a bit unsettled and potentially a bit cool here, actually. So we've got a trough of low pressure in the Atlantic. We've also got a trough of low pressure sitting just to the east of us as well. There's no particularly evident area of high pressure, but we could be doing something a little bit like that with the flow and with the jet. So there could be some sort of ridge around here, maybe. But anyway, it looks like we're on the cool side of the jet stream, really, more or less. Like, could be lining up the wind flow direction sort of northwest to southeast with a northwest southeast alignment to the jet stream. At the very least, I would have thought it's likely to be quite cool, and it could be rather unsettled as well, that as we go into the early part of September. So maybe meteorological autumn will begin on an autumnal note this year. Let's have a look at the tropical and mid-latitude view in terms of temperature and rainfall anomalies. So, of course, on this view, British Isles is an island in the top right-hand corner of the chart, as you're looking at. We can't see, like, the Arctic, Greenland, Iceland, most of the areas. They're off the chart up here. Managed to draw a nice straight line there, didn't I? Which I don't usually do. But they're off the chart. But we start looking at that view down, so we know what's going on in terms of the Northern Hemisphere pattern. But for week 1, so this is week 1, 500 millibar height anomaly taking us from the 14th to 21st. 14th to the 21st of August. It's unsettled. We know this. We've just seen it. Trough of below average height sitting over to the west of the country, and we're bringing in the wind from the west as well. Temperature anomaly is actually a little bit above average. That's because it's starting off quite warm. Still, the legacy of the heat wave, you know, still keeps out to quite warmish for week 1. So we are still a little bit above average by around 1 to 2 degrees in the first week. Of course, temperatures as we're going along are gradually cooling down. And it's also unsettled as well, with rainfall anomalies for week 1 coming out above average. A lot of that, of course, initially is thunderstorms, especially so for England and Wales, and then we start to push in more Atlantic-driven type stuff. We go through into week 2. This also looks very unsettled. This is the 21st, 28th of August, with low pressure again sweeping in from off the Atlantic and probably bringing a jet stream as well. Unlike week 1, week 2 is cooler, so this is cooler than average. We've lost all of the sort of leftover legacy of the heat wave, and we're driving the air in off the Atlantic, which at this time of year is actually quite a cool air mass. Of course, in winter, Atlantic-driven weather is going to be mild. It will be significantly milder than average, but at this time of the year, Atlantic-driven weather does actually tend to be cooler than average. And so, yes, for week 2, we have actually gone below average with temperature anomaly there. So what a contrast to the first half of August as we come to the latter stages of the month. And obviously, with low pressure still well and truly dominating the weather, we have above average rainfall as well. So a cool, wet end to this very, very strange and odd summer. And then we go through to weeks 3 and 4, which takes us from the 28th of August to the 11th of September, with a trough of low pressure in middle and central Atlantic just there, and another trough to our east. Could be doing something a bit like that, the flowing with the jet. So there is perhaps a ridge that's building to the west of the country, not sure. Remember, it's a 2-weekly anomaly, so it might be a little bit transitional. Temperature anomalies look no better than average. They aren't as cool as they are in week 2, but nevertheless, they don't look particularly inspiring. They're not particularly exciting, and it's still largely above average with the rainfall anomaly as well. So it does look as though this is probably quite an autumnal-ish, is that actually a word? It does look like this is probably quite an autumnal type start to meteorological autumn, if that is right, in early September. Let's see how that compares to CFS V2, but that's just one model, so let's see how the CFS compares. Again, these are 500 millibar heights, but broken down into week periods. The first week period will take us from the 14th to the 20th of August. And the coming week, we'll have the above average heights to our north-northeast, below average heights to west-southwest. So this is a little bit stronger with the ridge of high pressure. And out of the 2 hours, I tend to go actually with the JMA. I think the breakdown is a little bit more advanced than this is showing. So already as far as week 1 is concerned, I think the CFS is off on a bit of a tangent. I think this low pressure in the Atlantic is actually, quite a bit stronger than that showing. You would look around and think we are going to have quite an anticyclonic week ahead, and of course high pressure is already breaking down with low pressure gaining an ascendancy. Now by the time we get through to week 2, we have got CFS also going for low pressure big time. It's 21st, 27th of August, with a deep area of low pressure across much of the north and the west of Europe. Jet stream coming off the Atlantic. So both the JMA and the CFS are in agreement for week 2, the final sort of full week of August, to be very unsettled and potentially really quite cool as well. Week 3 also looks unsettled and cool. This is the 28th of August to the 3rd of September, with a trough of low pressure more or less centred right over top of the country. The high pressure, the ridge of high pressure from the Azores pushed out into the Atlantic. Jet stream is on a northwest-southeast alignment. It looks cool and unsettled there. Nothing more you can say really as we come to the end of meteorological summer. And then that takes us through to week 4, which is the 4th to the 10th of September, with below average heights, low pressure sitting just to the north of the country, above average heights down to our southwest. So the high pressure is trying to ridge up from the southwest, but overall still probably quite unsettled, and the jet stream still on a northwest-southeast alignment probably keeps us pretty cool as well. So this does look as though now the heat wave is broken. There is very little sign of any sustained warmth coming back, to be honest. Looks like the next week we just gradually cool things down. It is pretty warm at the moment still, which is all sort of a leftover legacy of the heat wave, but gradually cooling down over coming days, and then like after that it looks like there's very little in the way of sustained warm weather on offer here. But let's have a look at temperature anomaly. So this is week 1 temperature from the 14th 20th of August. It's still above average, still hotter than average week coming up. I'm not sure it will be quite as above average as that is showing actually, because as I say, the breakdown is already more advanced, I think, for week 1 than the CFS would have us believe. But there is still quite a bit of warmth within the atmosphere. So yes, it's okay that week 1 is going to be warmer than average. But by the time we get through to week 2, which is the 14th, 27th of August, all of that warmth sort of drained away. It is still a little bit above average, and I expect that's a little bit overcooked. I expect actually it will probably be a bit cooler than average in week 2 in reality. By week 3, we have gone below average with the CFS. This is 28th of August, 3rd of September. Cooler than average temperature anomalies forecast there, and these cool temperature anomalies continue into week 4 as well, which is the 4th to 10th of September. No early September heat wave. No early September heat wave with JMA Friday today. Of course, we do think of early September as very regularly having a push of really quite warm to hot weather from the south, particularly in the opening days of the month. It's something that we do see quite a lot of. It's kind of like one of those singularities that we get within the weather, which is like a recurring or repeating pattern that crops up quite a lot. But there's no sign of that with JMA Friday, no sign of it this week. Anyway, looks like early September is quite cool and autumnal. Week 1 precipitation, 14th, 20th of August, looks like that. Dry on average to our north, wetter than average from England west. It's indicative of the thunderstorms that's going on right now. Eventually, even northern areas will start to turn more unsettled as we bring low pressure in from the Atlantic Ocean. Week 2 is the 21st to 27th of August with above average rainfall, only slightly above average, but above average rainfall there in week 2. Week 3 also hints at being slightly wetter than average also. That's the 28th of August to 3rd of September. And week 4 rounds it all off, which is before through to the 10th of September. Very weak signals by this point, of course, but still a little bit wetter than average, particularly for northern and western parts of the country. So a very interesting JMA Friday this week. So we've had this very hot weather, of course. It's broken down now. It's breaking down as we speak. Thunderstorms breaking down the heat wave. There is still warmth left within the atmosphere. That's providing the energy for these storms. And that's going to carry on for the next few days. But gradually things are cooling down. Gradually things are turning more unsettled. And there's very little sign here of any sustained heat coming back now that the heat wave is broke. So is that it for summer? Is that it for summer in terms of hot weather? We shall see. But certainly JMA Friday today is suggesting that we may well have an autumnal start to autumn 2020. Right, just a snapshot of what these models are showing. So they could all look very different next week. So we're going to be back later on with your 10 to 14 day video update, including all of regular features. So come back for that then. But for JMA Friday, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.